All right, good morning YouTube. This is Mike from Beautiful Day Garden in Zone 6B in Eastern Pennsylvania in the Lehigh Valley. So what I want to do today is to take a look at the garden and let's see if we can some of the tomato plants that need some support. You know, as I'm doing this, I found out that I didn't have enough tomato cages. So as a result, there's a lot of the plants, a lot of the tomato plants are unsupported, and as they grow, they just are kind of laying on the ground. So it's kind of you know, not what I wanted to do. So let me show you. These are the ones that are supported with the tomato cages. Obviously, we got the raspberry and blackberry bushes, we got the tomatoes, and then we come up to this section here, and none of that. Okay, so when we're up on this section, we can see that, yeah, the tomato plants are trying to grow, but what's happening is they're flopping over and just kind of laying on the ground. So what I'd like to do today is just simply to, let's move on to this section here. What I'd like to do today is to see if I can come up with a way to support these tomato plants without the tomato cages. You know, I like my 4-stem technique. I think it's really, you know, doing great here. But what I need to do is to come up with a way to support these tomato plants, and then all along here. So that's my goal for today, and let's see if we can get to it. Okay, so here's what we got. Here's my plan. I have these T-posts, and what I'd like to do is to put them into the ground, and then my plan would be to get some line here and then run it across with a T-post supporting the lines, and then I can use my little black plastic clips to secure the branches of the tomato plants to the line. So first step first, let me see if I can pound these T-posts in, and I think I'm going to use 3 of them for each row. One on the end here, one in the middle, and then one on the other end, and that should give some support to the line, because if I don't use a T-post in the middle here, I can really picture the line, you know, sagging quite a bit, especially with the weight of the limbs as I attach them to the line. So let me put the T-posts in, and then we'll see what we have. Okay, good. So I have the 3 T-posts set up here, and what I did was I ran the line here, and you could just see that I tied it on and ran it right across. And in the T-posts here, can you see this? We have the hook here going up, so this is going to lend some support for this cord here, you know, should it start to slip down. Now it's kind of tight and it feels like it's going to be secure, but you know, as the rain and the weather and so forth and the weeks go on, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of slunk its way down the T-post here. So this little notch here on the T-post, and here's another one and another one, but it's going to help support and hold this line in place. So what I did here, I started securing the tomato branches here, the stems, with the little black plastic clips, and we can see one there, and it's looking good. See? Okay, so the problem, or what I found out in doing this, is that, well, here's the 4th. I'm going to try the 4-stem technique again, but what I found is that it's just too short, you see, and this one next to it, these branches are way too short to reach the line. So I think what I'm going to do is to run a second line that's lower down on the T-post, maybe, you know, about here, and then I'm going to run it across, and that's going to help support these branches that aren't quite tall enough to reach this first line. So let me secure that, and I'll get right back to you. All right, good then. So I got the second line up, and I secured the tomato branches to both lines here with the clips here, and you can see how they're supporting. And I just went all the way across and did the same thing. And as I was going across, I was pruning the plants and taking away the suckers. And you can see here's a cut section, because I really want to stick to the 4 stem technique. And what I'm going to have is that as the plants grow, you know, they'll grow up, and I don't want them to get too many stems, because then that's going to be kind of, we're going to run out of room here, you know, as we grow vertically. So I'm going to keep it to 4 stems and see how that goes. And let's see if I can get set up, get a couple other rows here set up. Because I'll tell you what the issue is. You know, the issue with the tomato cages is, hey, I mean, they're great, don't get me wrong, but at maybe $6 a pop, if I'm going to buy 100 of them, that's $600 right there, you know? So depending on how many plants you have, that can really add up. So a technique like this, what I can do is I can have as many tomato plants along the line as I want, you see? So it's just a matter of supporting the line so it doesn't sag in the middle. And so that's why I have that middle post there. So I think I'm gonna try this for these other sections here. And I think it's gonna make them a lot more organized and supported. And we'll see how it turns out. So got a lot done today, actually. You can see in the background here, these string trellis. So basically what I did was I put the T-posts in to the ground, and for each row of tomatoes here I put 3 T-posts, with the middle one, you know, giving support for the middle of the cord here. So because if I didn't have this middle one here, what would happen is this whole line would sag down, so it would be, you know, down here, and I could only pull this cord so tight, because what will happen is on the end one here, it will pull this in, you know, so this way it gives it a little more even support. But let's just walk around here just to kind of see, you know, how I did this. I actually found a good way to secure these. Let me show you. Okay, good. So here we have my final outcome here, the string trellis. And what you can see is that I have these hooks here that are holding the string. And the string runs down to the tomato plant and secures the tomato plant. Well, holds the tomato plant. It's secured by the black, can you see it there? These black hooks that I use. I'll get a better view of it in a minute, but just want to give you a little overview first of the trellis and how it came out, and then we'll get a little closer up view. Let me flip this around so you can see how it turned out, how I actually secured the plants. Okay, so here's the hooks that of the string, and you can see one after the other how the string comes down from the cord and then runs down to the tomato plant. And what I have is the string is secured on the tomato plant underneath a branch like this. Underneath a branch like this, you can see how it's secured. And in the back of the plastic clip here, there's like little claws that crimp the string and really hold on to it. So let's just move along here. Here's a good example. You might be able to see this just a little bit better. You see how the string is really crimped in there in the hinge. And what I do is, here's a good example where I have the string wrapped around. See, it's secured at the bottom with the clamp. Can you see that? Yeah. And then the string wraps around the stem. So as the stem grows up taller, I'm gonna just wrap this string around the stem, and it's a vine, so it's just gonna go right up. As the weeks and months go on, you'll get a much better understanding of how that happens, but let me just walk along here, and you can see that I now have the tomato plants, you know, up and organized, and now they're not just sprawling and growing, you know, stems all over the place. They're really secured, and they have direction now where they can grow up. And then this row here, it's the same kind of thing. Now here's something interesting that I found. Let me share this with you. Now you see how these little hangers, I had the string around them and they hang on the cord. But what happens is when you just, a little wind or storm and the cord, you see how they just drop and they just drop to the ground? Okay, but I came up with something to help secure them. So if a storm comes, they all don't fall down, because that's what I found happened. So let me get some clips here and I'll demonstrate the solution I came up with. Okay, so what I did, you can see here, let me get the end result. Okay, so you can see here really what I did. Now let me get this one so you can see. I get the top end, right? And I put the top end through the top and bottom of the black clips. You see there's holes right on the top and a big hole here at the bottom. So when I clip this, what happens is that there's enough friction to really hold on. So I can flick this line and see how secure that is? Look at that, I'm shaking it up and down, and it's really solid. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see if I can demonstrate this with one hand. All right, I'm gonna take the clip. Okay, there, so I have the hanger through the top hole of the clip, and it's sitting on the cord here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to find that big hole there and see if I can get the bottom part of the hanger to go through that hole. Let's see what I can do here, one hand. Okay, there. So it wound up, it took two hands. But you can see what I did was I put the string hanger in the top hole, in the bottom hole, and then clicked it shut. And now I could shake this up and down, and you see how secure that is? Look at that. That's not going anyplace. And that's just how all these are attached now. So if a storm comes, a nice rainstorm or something, you know, we're all secure, and these won't fall down. Because that's the problem I had last year when I tried something like this. I didn't have the hanger secure, so the string hanger secure. So as a result, during a storm, they all fell. So live and learn. Each season you learn a little bit more. So let's give this a try and see if any, fall next few days. And well, there you go. String trellis.